In this video, we will be discussing about circuit diagram. A circuit diagram is a simplified graphical representation of an electric circuit. Unlike a block diagram or a layout diagram, a circuit diagram shows the actual wire connections being used. So if you can see this picture, this is a very basic electrical circuit. See, it is a simplified graphical representation of an electric circuit. And in this graphical representation, you can see the actual connections of wires. So what are these wires connected to? So this wire is connected to a resistor, a switch, a battery. So it is a very simple form where you can identify the wire connections very easily to what are these wires connected. And also, we know that an electrical circuit usually comprises a cell or a battery, a plug key, electrical components, and connecting wires. So, it is often convenient to draw a systematic diagram in which different components of the circuit are represented by the symbols conveniently. So basically what is present in an electric circuit diagram, you can see a cell where it produces electrons, which is the source. It can be a cell or a battery. You can see a switch, which is a plug key, and you can also see connecting wires. So without wires the current doesn't flow. So you can see wires and also some electrical components like resistor, and in some diagrams you can also find voltmeter, ammeter, etc. And it is very convenient form. See, we can easily draw it with hand in a systematic way by using symbols. So there is a particular symbol for a battery here, they are using a particular zigzag design for a resistor, and for switch they are using another symbol. So by using these symbols we can conveniently draw a systematic diagram of a particular electric circuit. Now we will look at various components and their symbols that we use while representing them in an electric circuit diagram. So these are the components and these are the symbols. So the first one is electric cell. So this is the symbol. So whenever we have to represent an electric cell in an electric circuit diagram, we represent it with this symbol. See, these are the wires, and you will see a long line, gap, and a small line. So this long line is the positive terminal and the small one is the negative terminal. So whenever you represent an electric cell in a circuit diagram, you have to draw it like this. And the next one is a battery or a combination of cells. So how do we draw that? See, you represent it with this sign. So it is almost very similar to electric cell, but there is a slight difference. So there is a long line and a small line, and there is no gap. There are dotted dashes, or there are some hyphen like symbols continued by a long line and a short line, which is positive. The long one is the positive and the short one is the negative. So you can see 1, 2. So two cells can be seen. This is single cell, and here you can see two cells. So this is nothing but a battery or a combination of cells. So if you have to represent a combination of cells or a battery, then you have to represent it with this symbol. And the next one is a plug key or a switch open. So this is the symbol. So if you want to draw plug key or a switch which is open, what is the meaning of switch open? Switch open means it is in off condition. So the switch is off. So this is in open condition, brackets, and this is the wire. So this is plug key or switch open. And the next one is plug key or switch closed. So this is the one. So if the switch is closed, you have to fill this gap with a dot between these brackets. So that is what is switch closed. That means the switch is on. The next one is wire joint. So if the wire is joined, then it is more like an inverted T. So there is a basal line and there is a long line which is clashing the basal line with a thick dot. So this is a wire joint. So if you have to represent a wire joint, then you represent it with a inverted T, more or less like an inverted T. Next is wire joining without crossing. So for example, if you have to join a wire without crossing the other wire, then it is like this. See, it is actually not joining, but it's crossing. There is a bulb like structure, or there is a lump here. So this is the wire joining without crossing. There is a upholding, it's like a curve C. So this is what is used to represent a wire joining without crossing. A slash, that is the basal line in which the wire is crossing it without joining. And the next one is the electric bulb. So you represent electric bulb like this. It is more or less like the wire joining without crossing with a circle around it. So this is a wire and there's a bulb like structure or a bump like structure, and there is a circle around it. So this is the symbol that you use it for an electric bulb. And the next one is a resistor of resistance R. So a resistor is used to represent by a zigzag line. So it's like a heartbeat, somewhat like heartbeat that you observe in an electrocardiogram. So it's like heartbeat, zigzag line. We also saw in the diagram previously in the electric circuit diagram. So this is a resistor represented by a zigzag line. So this particular resistor has a resistance R. So it is constant throughout. Now we will see variable resistor or rheostat. So the resistance is not constant, it will be varying all throughout. So if the resistance is varying, or if it's a variable resistor, we can also call it as a rheostat. And you will represent it by the same zigzag line but an arrow, a cross arrow, which will be passing through that zigzag line. And the next one is an ammeter. What is an ammeter? We discussed about it. It is used to measure electricity or the current passed. That is an ammeter. So this is ammeter. It's just a circle and these are the wires connected, and inside you write A to represent it as ammeter. And the next one is voltmeter. Again, voltmeter is used to calculate volts, the potential difference. So it is very similar. Again, there is a circle connecting wires and in between you write V since it's voltmeter. And the next is galvanometer, and in the galvanometer you write the same circle and you write G. So almost this ammeter, voltmeter and galvanometer, the symbols are same, but inside the letters representing will be the starting letters of all of them. So ammeter will have A in the middle, voltmeter have V in the middle, and the galvanometer will have G in the middle. So this is how you represent different components with their symbols when you use it in electric circuit diagrams. Thank you.